In today's episode, we're sculpting this, which means we're carving this into this. We'll show you how we do it, work some mad detailing magic, recap our sculpture, and dazzle you with breathtaking cinematics. Looking for top 5 entertainment in under 35 minutes? Then stick around. Hey, good morning, good day, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, City Sculptor, and you have made your way back to Pengasas Bay. It's a beautiful day in the bay, and we're looking in the Crestwind part of town. Crestwind. You'll see Crestwind Cape in the foreground and Crestwind Farms in the background. But before we jump in there and talk about today's build, I want to show you real quickly these 2 new interchanges I put in off camera in between our university episode and today. And by the way, if you haven't seen that university episode, go check it out. Yeah, I think you'll really like it. So this is our interstate interchange here, and we needed to do something big to handle our north-south freeway that we've been working on just quietly in the background here, sending us off in a different direction to maybe one of our future builds. And then the east-west freeway that's already been in place here, we wanted to make sure we had connectivity there. And then also we dropped in this beautiful dumbbell interchange here that's going to serve as a service interchange for all of the Crestwind district, both the farms and the market down here. As you recall, this is called Farm to Market, episode 1. And today we're focusing on the farms. Crestwind Farms is this little space down here. You can see I've got it all designated out here with my keep out signs. And that's because we got fertile land that's down in here. We've got a massive grain shortfall in Pengasas Bay. We're importing about 600 tons a month, and we've got to change that. And fortunately, we've got this big piece of fertile land here, and we can start to make a dent in that. So we're going to repurpose this land into farms, especially addressing that grain demand. But we also are going to want to do some produce and maybe even some livestock as well. That should be fun. We will bust up the grid, though, a little bit with some decorative farms. Now, it will be a traditional grid pattern, but we're going to throw in some decorative farms. Those are going to be non-functioning farms that are just going to serve as a little break for the eye so that it doesn't look like just a big brown canvas in here. So that should be a lot of fun. We're going to do a lot of detailing in this space, and I think it'll turn out really nicely. Now, just as a reminder, we are a new channel. And so if you see something today that you like, be sure to leave us a comment below and make sure to tell everybody that you saw it on City Sculptor's channel. Also, while you're at it, make sure to chip away at that like button and hammer that subscribe button to stay up to date with all the happenings here in Pengasas Bay and our Grand Vanillica series as well. All right, I threw a lot at you, so let's get started. With that as a backdrop, let's do this. The first thing we're going to want to do is we're going to come in here and terraform, because I've got to do a couple of things here. I've got to connect this road, and I want to steer clear of our little agricultural space, and then I want to bring that road up to here, connect it up here with this road somewhere. The other thing I want to do is I want to take this little, I don't know, it looks like a little stream. I want to bend it so that it comes back, maybe closer to this boundary here, just to create some greater definition. I think we've got a little, kind of like a little valley, a very subtle valley that runs right through there. So maybe I'll have it meander along, following along that little valley in there, just to break up the space between the agricultural land and the non-agricultural land. We'll call it the prairies, I guess. I don't know. All right, so let's jump in here and do that to start. Okay, so now we've carved out that little stream, and let's just see. Hopefully this will start to flow in there. I mean, the water's moving along there very slowly, and hopefully it'll flow all the way down in here. So we have this nice, gentle little, I don't know, kind of farmland stream going here. I can come back and smooth it out a little bit later on too, but I want to see if it fills in first. So let's now turn our attention over to here. We've got, let's just take a look and see. We've got this road that's coming in here, and I envision having an access road coming down into the farmyards here, farmland here, and then this big, it's a 4-lane divided road making its way down kind of along parallel to the railroad tracks. So I think we could probably just go ahead and do that. I just want to drive that out like so. Yeah, it's parallel to that railroad track for a little bit, but I now need to bend it up north here and have it come in to meet this guy here. So let's take a look at the terrain there. It looks like I would have to cut through like a little valley here. Maybe I can raise that up a little bit. Just grab this elevation and come right through the middle of that valley. It's not all that uncommon to see, a major road kind of carve its way through farm areas and have little ditches along the side of the road. So we could definitely do that. Oh, this is a little higher than that though. So maybe what I'll do is I'll come in here with an angle now and then just bring this guy down here.
So it'll be just a gentle decline coming down there. I can peel this road back a little bit and we'll run out. Let's see, this is a 4-lane divided road. So we'll just come straight out here. This will be a placeholder. And this, I think if we just come right out here, maybe come straight out 90 degrees for a bit, maybe about through, around 300 meters, and then just come in here and bend that in. Let's see what that looks like. Yeah, I mean, that'll box up that space pretty well. It'll give us some good thoroughfare coming through here. Down here, I think I might want to put a roundabout in just to keep traffic flowing really well, because I would imagine we're probably going to get a fair amount of traffic now coming through this area all the way out to our university district and then on to Hickory Heights, and then there's the freeway back there, and then eventually we'll connect this to the freeway here, and then we'll also have freeway access down here. So I think we've defined up the space pretty well. The water's just kind of creeping along there, and that feels pretty good. The next thing we need to do now is we need to come in and kind of terraform this land out here. Yeah, it looks like we've got some terrain going on over here, although it would probably be nice to keep some of this character. We got some little bumps over here, gentle slope down to the creek over here. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe we'll just flatten out some surfaces up here, just so we have a nice little flat area for some of our farms, and maybe they kind of overlook this little area down here, so we can have a couple of different layers going on there. So maybe this seems to hold this elevation up here, and then maybe we can drop this down. Like if I can get this lower altitude down here and just drive that, push that back. You've got your agricultural land that swings its way all the way down here into those little lumps and bumps, that little flat land down there. You got the big terrace up here. And so we've got another little elevation down in here. Let's pick maybe a middle tier here and just drive this down a little bit. Drop in another tier there. Maybe kind of make something come along here. I don't want to disrupt this though. This is a pretty natural feature here. So let's do that. And then we'll grab this other tier down closer to the water's edge and just kind of work that in like so. Yeah, that gives us something to work with. All right, so I suppose the next thing we need to do is knock down all these trees. It's kind of hard to have good farming when you got a bunch of trees in the way. And I'm just going to grab my forest brush and just start pulling the trees back. I have an idea in terms of how I want this to lay out eventually. And if we pull all these trees out, these big, beautiful, mature trees, which is a little tough to do, but we'll make that happen for now. Why is this? Okay, we'll just crank that all the way up. Come on, get our big tree vacuum out. Suck up all those trees. All right, there we go. Now we've got a little better space to work with, and I think we can probably come down here and along the little creek's edge as repopulate with trees. Once we've got all of our farms laid out. So I want to come in here and maybe define with some gravel roads, right along this ridge line. So I'm going to turn on our little topography there, and let's see here. I actually wouldn't mind coming off of here. So we'll come off of there and then just come straight out 90 degrees from that and run it as far out as we can. I'm going to get rid of this guy now and come right up along here. And then we're going to come out 90 degrees this way. Let's see, where is that going to take us? Oh yeah, that's pretty good. It'll take us right up to the edge there. If we frame it all up, then it should be easier to drop in farms, once we get going here. And I don't think I want to go all the way that road either. So it's going to be cute little farms. The idea is that these are almost little boutique local produce grower type farms. And, I just want to put in a bunch of little squares. And once I do that, then I'll have the ability to come in and populate with farms and also with some, some like little groves and such. Because I think ultimately what we'd like to see in here is a variety of different agricultural products. Maybe there's some, maybe there's wheat and corn and, kind of the stuff that they've got in the menu, but maybe there's going to be some apple trees in here too. And a couple of other things that you maybe didn't expect. All right, let's see here. We're framing this all up nicely with some gravel roads, again, just to bring definition to the space. Yeah, so we can now come back in here and start figuring out the road layout as well. Because you've got that one road that comes in from over here. I'd like to have one come in kind of down in this area. Maybe here it comes down to this lower tier. And then I think I'd like to have another one that comes up and attaches over here. So you've got multiple entries and exits coming out of this farming area that all connect to these major arterials that will ultimately feed back to freeways and so forth.
Now let's build out the largest of our farms. I want to say, let's take this spot right here where this intersection is and just draw a line straight across to this alley road there. And I think that would make a great little farm right in that space. So we're going to come in and grab our specialized industry. And since it's so heavy in the agricultural land, the land fertility, I definitely want to take advantage of, one of our farming industries that requires it. So I wouldn't do livestock farming here. We can do grain, we can do vegetable, and we can do textile. So let's see which one we're, in the most demand for right now. If I come in here and check out our production, and the greatest one that we have a deficit for right now is our grain farming. So I think it makes a lot of sense for us to use grain farming in this particular space. Of course, we need livestock, but we can put that anywhere. And then we can also use vegetables. And the reason why we're doing that is because you can see down here, we've got, we're importing a lot of food. This convenience food. It looks like a little TV dinner. I haven't had a TV dinner since, well, it's been a long, long time. It looks like we're importing a lot of convenience food, TV dinners. You can see that in this food one, it looks like produce and livestock go into that. And in this convenience food, it looks like grain goes into that. And so we're trying to be mindful of that supply chain. Let's jump out of that, and we're going to grab our specialized industry. We're going to grab grain farming, and let's drop that one in. Now, I was thinking of a place where I want that farm building to go, and probably somewhere down along this backside here would be all right. But I wouldn't mind it coming in to this space as well. So if I come out here like so, put that in right like that, and then just start making my way around here. That's a pretty nice farm in there. I'm going to take this line and drag it back to about there and start doing the same thing here. Let's just kind of get rid of some of those little nodes and then drag this guy back to here. See what we come up with. Okay. I've got an unlocked building here that's, let's see, the dairy house. Let's see, does that fit in there? Oh, it just perfectly fits into that space. That's nice. I'd like to bring that dairy house in there because that gives us all kind of benefits. Oops, let me hover over it again. Let's see. Dairy house. +2 industrial efficiency for the whole city and +2 export profits for the entire city. So it really is a nice little benefit, a boost to our entire city. And I thought putting it in here, let's turn off all this bright white, putting it on this main alley road, it might be a, kind of the best possible fit for it, because then you get access from both the north up there in the distance and then from the south down here below on a paved road. And if we put it back into this little wonky nook corner down here, I think that might be kind of cool looking. Yeah, see, that works out pretty well right in that space, and you got the farm kind of wrapping around it, and that's just fine. Now I can come back in here with my farm and add another node right there. So now we've got that dairy house in place there, the dairy house. And you can see it's a little bit of ground pollution, a little bit of air, lots of noise pollution, but it gives you all of these nice benefits, and those benefits kick in right away. Okay, cool. On to the next step. This is an oddly shaped space here, and we're going to make use of that in slightly different fashion than the other one. Let's see how much agricultural land we have here. It's probably a lot, isn't it? Yeah, it's pretty heavy in the yellow. So we're going to want to break this up into a couple of little pieces. The first piece, I think what we're going to do is we're going to come in here, and it's such a big piece of agricultural land that I hate to waste it on, just simply doing decor. But I need to do some decor in this space. And I think I'm going to take this and I'm going to run this little road out here just as a placeholder. I'm doing that because I want to make sure that I've set aside enough adequate room here in this little triangle corner here to do like a little farm looking area that's really not functioning as a farm. So let's grab this gravel road now here, and we'll come out and we'll do another driveway moving its way out kind of in this direction here. And let's see here. I want to grab that specialized industry again. I'm going to come out here this time, get it out here into the center as far as I can. I want to come out to here. Nice. Now we've got a pair of grain farms sitting up here in here on our space, and I think that's going to look really sharp when we detail everything out and frame it all up. Okay, moving on to this little odd-shaped space down here. And what I had in mind for this space is I want to grab this gravel road and I want to create a gentle curve off of the end of this.
So those are the two pieces that I want. I'll come back in now with my European row, and I just want to put one European row house in there. I just want to see how that looks. If I bring that in, let that build up, I think what's going to happen is that's going to be kind of almost like a little small farmhouse look. And then I want to come back in here and grab my industrial zones. And I want to paint in just a little small industrial building here. Maybe it's 2x3. And, there are certain assets that I'm going for that might look nice in that space. The idea would be this is a little tiny farmhouse, and this will be some sort of storage, whether it's silos or warehouse or something like that. And then this farmland, we'll come back in and we're going to decorate it with something that is, like little lettuce bushes or something like that. See these little tiny things? You come in here. I know it's lettuce. It's the biggest lettuce you've ever seen. But the idea is do nice little rows. 1, 2, 3, and repeat all the way through this space. And, you can kind of get the idea in that it'll ultimately turn out to what'll look like, maybe it's strawberry bushes or something like that, all the way down through this whole space. And, and I'll do that later off camera because it's going to be a lot to paint in. But again, ideally, you'll get something that looks like a little farmhouse here. You'll get a little storage facility here, and you'll get all of your little plantings all the way through in around here. As we got back down to this lower tier, I want to make sure that I come in here and frame that up with some plantings. And then the other thing I need to check again is how much natural resource land do we have? Well, not much. Okay, so I think what our plan will be is to come in here and put produce in maybe this area here. Maybe we'll do a couple of little produce type farms that are tucked in there. There you go. Now you've got your textile farm that's tucked in there. We'll put some trees here in between the two. And I think I want to make a decorative space over here. That's okay. And then, that's flat there. I don't know. We might be able to tuck in a bunch of little farms back in here, which is going to be kind of cool, I think. Now let's turn our attention to this little spot down in here. We've got a nice little piece of land right down along this creek that's filling in nicely. I want to check the topography here though first. So there's this big hill up in here, which is really nice. I'd like to protect that as much as I can, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to. And the reason I say that is, let's see here. Yeah, that is really fertile land up in there, and it'd be really nice to make the most use out of that we can. Hang on for a second. I want to rework this rail line just a little bit, just to have it sit up a little bit higher in the elevation. Sit tight. So we've got this agriculture land that's sitting up on this hill here, and that's just killing me. I'd like to take advantage of that. So I think what I'm going to do here is I'm going to get kind of a little creative here. There, now it's 90 degrees on both sides. And now we'll keep that nice and level up there, but it's tucked in there nice and neat, and I can come back in here, smooth that out, add some decoration up top. And then we can do our little row house trick on the other side as well. And I'd like to see like a little, I don't know, almost like a little, maybe it's grapes, something growing back along this ridge line here, this little hill. Let's see here. What's going to be our best way to do that? Maybe we come in from down here. We'll bring this up. And you're going to have a little tiny house just sitting up there. 1, 2, 3, boom, like so. That can start to grow, and then we'll come back in here and maybe do some small shrubs down along here. I think we're in a good spot here now to jump into a time lapse. We've got a lot of work to do just in terms of framing out some of those decorative farms. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We've got a lot of decorative farms we need to build in. I want to come in and put some trees and bushes and shrubs around these more clearly delineated farmland areas, just so we have something there. And then I still haven't figured out what I want to put in this space up here. Maybe it's a windmill, maybe, I don't know, maybe it's a water tower, something along that line. We'll figure that out. All right. Well, why don't you guys just sit back, relax, enjoy the time lapse. Let's check back in here afterwards and we can recap our sculpture. All right, enjoy.
All right, welcome back, and I gave you Crestwind Farms. Crestwind Farms, we built this area out today because we had, well, really two reasons. One, we had a bunch of new residents moving into the university district, and a lot of them were looking for new jobs. And then two, we had a huge demand for grain and produce in our city, and this seemed like a great place to do that. It also couples well with our farm to market theme for this episode and the next. Well, let's just jump right in here and take a look.
We start off with our vineyard here that I want to show you. This is just a quaint little chateau here on the hill, and then we've got some vines planted all the way up along these hills. I tried to make the most, if I could, along the ridge lines by putting in these wild bushes, wild shrubs that kind of emulate vines. So I thought that turned out quaint. And then let's migrate along over here to our creek. And the creek was one of the first things that we put in. I wanted to put that in because, typically in farm areas, you often do see little streams or creeks that are kind of running by. And I wanted to just bring that in to add some additional depth. I thought that turned out really nicely. We've got a couple of really cool little special farms. We've got the regular generic industry farms and so forth that we're building here. But I also did a couple of little decorative farms. You can see this one's got a variety of different plants that are in here. There's some trees in here, maybe some pear trees and some maybe some raspberry bushes down here. And this looks like it could be cabbages over here. And so I just wanted to make sure that it was a nod to the local produce, farmers that are out there. If I jump across the creek here, I've got this big flower farm, and you can see all these beautiful flowers that are being grown in here. And maybe they'll bring those off to market as well to be sold to the residents of Pengasas Bay. Now, as I move right along up here to the northern entrance of the build, I love the way this one turned out. This was, again, just a decorative farm. And there's a variety of, you got some blueberry bushes, maybe some pear trees, and I think some cabbages that are growing up over in this area here. And then this warehouse that spawned in. I love this. It says full of foods. And that's exactly what that is right in that space. That's full of foods getting ready to be taken off to market. Okay, let's continue right along here. And then we've got this apple orchard here. And these are all apple trees. I think that was a really great choice in that space, especially given that this building spawned in here. And they got this little silo out there. And I thought to myself, well, maybe they're making apple juice in there. Maybe they're pressing apples in there and they're storing the cider here. And then the cider will get taken off to market for sale as well. We've got some additional, generic farms and so forth. And then we've got this great, big, huge farm in here. And we made use of our fertile land really, really well with this grain farm. We had a high demand for grain. We probably still have a high demand for grain, but this goes a long ways to satiate that demand. And then, of course, we dropped in our unique building here, our dairy building here. And this is a great asset that gives bonuses all around the city. Of course, we got a nice little water tower. We did figure out what to put on that hill, and I like the water tower with some, just wild random bushes that are kind of growing in that space. And then we'll move over to our top 5 build for this episode, and that's our strawberry farm. Look at the strawberry farm with all these strawberry bushes planted in nice, neat little rows. And then we've got a little processing building over here. I think this turned out great. Don't ask me how long it took to build it. It was a while, but I think it was definitely worth the effort because I just love the way that turned out in that little odd-shaped space there. All right, well, that's going to wrap up today's episode, but sit tight because you're not going to want to miss our cinematics at the end. Now, just remember, we are a new channel, and so if you saw something today that you liked, be sure to leave us a comment below and make sure to tell everyone what you saw on City Sculptor's channel. And also, make sure to chip away at that like button and hammer that subscribe button to stay up to date with all the happenings here in Pengasas Bay and our Grand Vanillica series as well. Okay, with that, I'm going to bid you all a fond farewell. And until next time, good morning, good day, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.